Hello, this is 7 cards for 7 days, Tarot with Tanya. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome for the first time if you are new. Please take what's shared today with, run it through your own intuition. We're working on developing that, and it's a reading for the collective, so some of it might resonate, some of it might not. I will first talk about the astrology for the week, and it is a lot of stuff in Pisces this week, and we have some movement into, well, kind of going back and forth between this Aries Pisces thing, so I'll talk about that, and then we'll look at the cards. I'm using the Wildwood deck this time, and we'll finish with the Tree Keeper's Oracle card. So our week is Monday, March 24th to Sunday, March 30th. And we start with our moon in Aquarius, the humanitarian, the one who is innovative, borderline genius, crazy, really wants to move humanity forward, values originality, friendship, things like that. And then we'll be going to the moon in Pisces this week, and that's part of that big pileup in Pisces. And then, of course, it goes to Aries, and that's another very activated place in the chart this week. Pisces, of course, is the mystic, the collective unconscious, the artist, the dreamer, and also the addict. Each of these aspects, each of these, let me put it this way, planets, signs, there's a positive expression and then a less than positive expression. So we're going to be dancing around with that Pisces to Aries. So then Aries, after the mystical Pisces, Aries is the pioneer, the beginning of the chart, and we're getting at this world point at that first degree of Aries. So everything is starting over because Neptune is moving this week at the end from Pisces into Neptune, which has not happened since 1861. It's a slow-moving planet. Astrologers are saying this is a really big week for these energies, and I'll just talk more about them as I go through. But anyway, after that Aries moon, finally next Sunday we end up in the very grounded, earthy, practical, sensuous Taurus. All right. So on Monday we have the Sun. This will be the 24th. The Sun conjunct Mercury. So that's really good for our communication. Mercury is the messenger, the mind, loves ideas, it's very curious, loves to go places, so good for short trips, things like that. So we might be asking a lot of questions and probably have a pretty sunny disposition that day, good communication style. On Tuesday, we get Mercury sextiling Pluto. And that could give us profound insights. It encourages us to seek the truth, to examine things, to analyze, investigate. And it can also cause life to change for the better, and it can help us handle difficult people. With Pluto, I mentioned Mercury before, but Pluto is very much of a transformational kind of energy, and that's where that examining and analyzing and all that depth comes from. Then we jump to Thursday, the 27th, and now I had mentioned before, a video or two ago, that Venus had gone retrograde. And so it was working its way back through Aries and now is re-entering Pisces on Thursdays. on Thursday. And it will also be conjunct Neptune because Neptune's at that last degree of Pisces. So Venus is exalted in Pisces. It's very good, again, for the artist, for the empath. It's got a lot of compassion. It's good for relationships. Yeah, it can make a person prone to deceit, as in, not being necessarily the deceiver, but not seeing things clearly and being deceived yourself. On the other side, it's good for the imagination, for fantasy. A little bit of a warning, we could find ourselves caught in some very strange circumstances. That's always that Neptune thing. The Venus, that's how we relate to each other. It's women, it's money, it's some of those emotional values. So when those two are coming together, and especially in Pisces, it can be very beautiful and artistic, but again, can make us prone to not seeing things clearly. Fantasy in either a constructive or perhaps a destructive way. And it also makes us interested in fashion, beauty, redecorating. And last little thing on the negative, we could idealize a less than worthy person. All right. Then on Saturday, like I told you, it was a packed week. We have the next solar eclipse. Now we just had the Pisces Virgo one recently, and now this is going back to the place where the nodes were, the moon's nodes I'm talking about, and that was the Aries and Libra. So this eclipse happens in Aries, and the same day Mercury is entering Pisces as well. So you see what I mean about, you've got Neptune there, you've got Mercury there, you've got the moon there this week, you've got Saturn in Pisces, and they're all meeting up in these late degrees, which some people are saying, I believe I mentioned before, that it's almost like a sending off party for Neptune as it's completing the whole wheel and going back to the beginning in Aries. And it could be a real oneness that infuses the collective unconscious. I mean, that's what the collective unconscious is, the place where we do have our oneness. But we might be much more aware of that, much more immersed in it. And hopefully this is signaling that we are going from, if this has affected people or somewhat maybe even yourself, going from not seeing things clearly, could be a way of expressing it, to downright cult delusional stuff. But the movement, because all these planets, as they retrograde, of course, they're going to come back into Aries. So there'll be a whole lot of infusion of energy coming back soon toward Aries. So hopefully that will bring a lot of energy, action, and clarity. We'll get out of this culty, confused energy that can be part of Neptune. So you got that eclipse that day in Aries, and that is about action. We do not want to hold on to the old. We want to be authentic. We value that. We value bravery. We need to watch for jumping to conclusions. I'm an Aries rising, got some other stuff there, so I know what that means. You just kind of got to watch that part, like, oh, something new, or I think I understand this, but maybe get a little bit more information. But it definitely helps us to manifest something new. And with Mercury conjunct Neptune, that's where we can be very mentally sensitive. We might be telepathic, we might pick up information, we might want to withdraw. It can help us be psychic, and again, back to the imagination, and we want to stay out of the drama. That's a good way to to use that energy. Just don't get caught up in the drama. Finally, on Sunday, Neptune enters Aries, the big deal in the astrological world recently. So I'd already talked about that, what that means, hopefully this new clarity, but it does go back to, the Civil War in the United States. And I'm in no way saying that that's going to happen. I don't think so at all. But just that it is a time of big upheaval. And a lot of astrologers are also talking about the echoes of certain, planetary positions and aspects going on right now, and how things that happened back in the fall are being revisited with these retrogrades. So more information, more light should be shed on these topics. So with that Neptune in Aries, of course it's going to enhance again the psychic sensitivity, help us understand what motivates people and events. It can help with the intuition, and it can be like mystical pioneering, combining the two, the Neptune and the Aries. The Neptune, the mystical, the Aries, the pioneering. On the darker side, confusion, addictions, aimlessness. So use it, intuitively. You'll know internally what way to work this. All right, so that was a lot. The cards are very watery and fiery. Big surprise, right? Pisces, water, Aries, fire. We got a little bit of earth in here too. One arrow, which would be air in the wildwood. So we start with a rebirth. How appropriate, right? And this week we just had the vernal equinox, the spring equinox last Thursday. So it is rebirth time. This 8 of vessels or cups can be a walking away from something, a letting go of something, and that letting go energy is how we get to the rebirth energy. And the 8's connected to the strength card in this deck. That's not what it's called, but that's what it is. I believe in this one it's called stag. But it's that challenge of knowing when to let something go and to walk away with it, to actually enhance our growth, to feel better. Then we get a really new start on Tuesday, and that's our same day that Mercury sextiles Pluto. So this one often is associated with self-love. I think it's a beautiful card. Visually, and here it's called the waters of life. It is about that renewal, the connection to source energy, so feeling self-love and kind of a start over in the way that we value the self. On Wednesday we get into the fire now, so 2 days of water. Wednesday we get to the bows, which is fire in this deck, and this is the 7. So this often can be an energy of, here it's called clearance, but an energy of standing up for what you believe in. What do you value that you would be willing to speak up for? To, with bows, it can be verbal, but it's also an instinct and action. Because it's that fire. So we have this fire in the background and the smoke, and you get the sense maybe that something is being crafted, created, and obviously this can be defense, right? You got your bow and your arrows. And 7s would be connected to the chariot, which is a kind of change. It can be either preparation for change or taken off with that change. We get a second 7, so also obviously connected to the chariot, and this is the earthy one because it's stones. So we've got the whole range of elements, and we've only got minors this week, which is interesting to me, given that the stars and the heavens are doing so much. But with this one, the energy is turned inward, and here you have this healing. It's the name of the card. I feel like it's a healing that reaches down into the bones. You have kind of a green woman figure here over our perhaps warrior with the spear at rest, and it can be taking stock of your resources. So perhaps your health. What is it? What adjustments maybe do you need to make? What part can you count on? What might need bolstering? When we get to Friday, we're back to the fire. And here we have the Knight. So in this deck, we have the Kings. The 2 masculines would be the Knights and the Kings in the Royal or People cards. got the fox, you know, the trickiness, the wiliness, I mean, you know, they're a type of canine, and very resourceful. This one often can sweep you off your feet. There are old legends about Reynard the Fox, which was a kind of male spirit, or, you know, man, maybe a spirit into a man that would seduce women. Yeah, he has that kind of reputation too. So it could be a very fiery person showing up with a strong masculine energy, and perhaps flirty, seductive, maybe sweep you off your feet kind of energy. Then, this is the only tough card for the week, really. And this one is the Three of Arrows, or the Three of Swords: jealousy, possessiveness, conflict. I think what it really stems from is feeling abandoned, or fearing that you're going to be abandoned. So it's connected to the Empress, or in this deck, the Green Woman, and that sense of abundance. And here it's like the abundance is cut off. But it's mental, you know, because it's a thought, it's air, it only exists in the mental realm. It is not a reality necessarily. So that is the day, I'm looking back at my notes, that we have that solar eclipse in Aries. So there's the fire, right? Here we have the heart literally on fire. And yet, in our psychic sensitivity, and you know, I never thought to say this on the channel before, but this makes a lot of sense. We have to be a little bit careful when we do, you know, if you're an empath or you're telepathic, you know, intuitive, picking things up from other people can so easily happen and you don't even know it. So you're absorbing this, and it could be this kind of energy. So just be mindful of that. Go for that positive expression of Aries. Try to take some action and use your intuition. And, you know, when you take action, don't take action that, you know, is going to sever anything, pick fights, things like that, but use it more to do things that you value and know enhance things for yourself. All right, and last but not least, our Sunday is the Queen of Vessels. So we end and begin with the water element. Again, Neptune, Pisces, Venus going into Neptune, or excuse me, into Pisces, Mercury going there. So this one, some people call the water fairy. She's a double feminine because it's the queen and it's the water element. And this one, definitely intuitive, definitely psychic, kind, compassionate. The dark side can be smothering, like too much of that, absorbing, overprotective, things like that. But the positive expression can be very creative, dreamy, kind, imaginative, and that would be a good use of that kind of energy. Now you do have Neptune moving to Aries that day, remember. And you know, these things are not exact. The energies overlap. It's not like, okay, this happens for 24 hours or 48 or whatever it might be. It's just, it moves in that direction. So I really hope that helps. It, like I said, it's kind of balanced in that we have all the elements represented, but there's more emphasis on the water and the fire, which completely mirrors what's going on in the heavens. So it could be a pretty transformative week for people, or again, laying the groundwork for that. So our Tree Keeper's Oracle this time is number 16, Keeper of Play. And I think we had this not too long ago. Just like a tree's limbs can support a swing of joy, your arms can hold a great deal of play. Too often our own limbs are weighted down by responsibility, demand, guilt, or shame. It's time to construct a swing of joy in your heart. Remember your inner 3-year-old who stood on her head or hung from the monkey bars just for the joy of the tactile experience? This wasn't mere folly. The tree keepers knew that play opens pathways to problem solving and creative genius. And see how well that fits with our week? It's not just enjoyable for the inner child, it's also essential for the outer adult. Fill your arms with the lightness of play and possibilities will take flight. Doors will appear where there were only walls. So, beloveds, I'm wishing you the best possible week. I know this went a little longer than usual. Thank you so much. If you're still hanging in there, please like, share, subscribe. And if you're interested in a personal reading, reach out. There's information at the end and below in the description box. I'll see you again in 7 days.